my mom applied K to my text with a period. Are my 5 morning alarms a metaphor for everything else I'm putting on? What have I done to deserve K? Like my 768 unread texts.
I'm just your dermatologist.
769.
But it sounds like you don't want all of this showing up on your face. Try Hydro Boost. Its formula magnifies the power of hyaluronic acid for juicy, deeply hydrated skin.
Okay. Sorry. Neutrogena. Weightless hydration that goes deep.
Lung cancer, NSCLC.
I can have a voice in my treatment.
I can be in charge of my journey.
If you have advanced non-small cell lung cancer that's locally advanced and you cannot have surgery or chemotherapy with radiation, or it is spread, and it does not have abnormal EGFR, ALK, or ROS1 genes, Libtayo may be used as a first treatment in combination with certain chemotherapies or alone in tumors with high PD-L1. Libtayo is designed to help your immune system fight cancer. Libtayo, alone or in combination with chemotherapy, helps patients live longer versus chemotherapy alone. Libtayo can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. Other side effects may occur. Tell your doctor if you have immune or nervous system problems, or if you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, or receive chest radiation.
I can.
I can.
I can.
You can rewrite your story with Libtayo. If it's non-small cell lung cancer, ask your doctor and visit libtayo.com.
That still scares me to this day.
Christine is released from the hospital and provides a police sketch artist with more details of her assailant.
That's him.
Around the same time, investigators get their first big break. The DNA results from the cigarette butts found at the crime scene, pending robbery charge in the state of Nevada.
Check this out. His last known address?
His current address throws up an instant red flag.
Dylan Spellman was staying a half a mile straight line from his house to actually where the girls were found.
Crime scene to find new evidence, a new angle on the case.
The crime took place right here.
And that's when it hits them.
Christine.
6 feet tall, Dylan Spellman doesn't fit the victim's own physical description of the killer. With that realization, police move him back down the suspect list. Over the next several months, the case stalls, then sputters to a stop. During those same months, she began
And her lifestyle, but also of Molly and her family's loss.
I was diagnosed with HIV. I didn't know who I would be.
But here I am, being HIV in many people, whether you're 18 or 80. With one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to undetectable and stay there, whether you're just starting or replacing your current treatment. Research shows that taking HIV treatment as prescribed and getting to and staying undetectable prevents transmitting HIV through sex. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Don't take Biktarvy if you take dofetamide or rifampin. Tell your healthcare provider about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding or have kidney or liver problems. If you have hepatitis B, don't stop taking Biktarvy without talking to your healthcare provider. Common side effects were diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
No matter where life takes you, Biktarvy can go with you. Talk to your healthcare provider today. I wasn't always here, but thanks to Purdue Global, I got my literal dream job.
3 years ago, I didn't have a degree. I liked my job. I just hit a ceiling. I needed the credentials.
I never thought college was my thing. Getting a degree backed by the power of Purdue,
But going to class from wherever.
whatever. So nothing is stopping me. Nothing keeping me from my dream job.
This is my comeback. Start yours today at PurdueGlobal.edu.
Streaming bill hit $180 a month for channels I don't even watch. I didn't get mad. I got friendly.
When my wife insisted on watching 24/7 holiday movies, I didn't get mad. I got
Friendly.
Live channels, thousands of on-demand titles, all starting at just $6.99 a month. Start your free trial today.
Utah. His photo was included in the letter.
We didn't know who Chris was. He had absolutely no ties to the area. So even for us as media, we were thinking, who is this person?
It turns out Melcher is an Army reservist, which means he's trained in the use of firearms, a theory from early on in the case.
what I thought very early on during the investigation was it had to have been a person with some sort of military or police experience even.
But why would he want to kill two teenagers 1,400 miles from home?
We go to Utah the next morning and talk to Cristobal Melcher.
Chris Melcher, you mind if we have a word with you?
I can help you, detectives.
What can you tell us about Christine Chapel?
I have no idea who she is.
What about her friend, Molly O'Gee?
I don't know Molly O'Gee.
Melcher claims to know nothing about the crime or the victims.
He's trying to say that he's guilty of murder.
This is outrageous.
He was very surprised by the fact that he'd been accused of being a suspect. He was maybe a little bit angry that he was being accused.
The guy who wrote that, he also attached his photo of you.
All right, yeah, this is me, but I know where this was taken.
Mr. Melcher actually recognized that photo and said, I was cropped out.
I'm not the only guy standing in it. Someone else was standing next to me. Let's take a picture, huh? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. Come here.
I'm almost empty.
Straight time.
The original is a picture of him and his ex-roommate, 27-year-old businessman David Strickland. The two were introduced by mutual friends years ago. Strickland needed a place to live, so Melcher invited him to be roommates.
We found out from Cristobal that David Strickland had lived in Utah with him for a while, and we learned that he had a new residence in Texas.
He was a businessman.
But after living together for a few months, the two had a falling out. Cristobal arrived home from work one day and found that Strickland had moved out and a cache of Melcher's guns were missing.
Melcher had reported burglary of guns from his home. The suspect in that burglary was David Strickland.
Yeah, I'd like to report a robbery.
David eventually gets picked up in Moab, Utah, as he's trying to head back to Texas. And he's brought back to Utah and arrested.
During that arrest, police found Melcher's weapons, which were returned to him.
Texas was so taxing. WS Detective, filed by AT.
I was in the courtroom when they played the video of the first responders going up to the scene. You saw Molly's body, and you saw Christine barely clinging onto life. I'll never forget that. It's burned in my memory, and I wish I could forget it. I couldn't imagine how.
Getting the closure on this case of arresting David Strickland, there was something divine in that. There really was. I don't know if you could ever say justice is served, but here's a family that will never see Molly again. Every time I see them, my heart breaks for them.
I feel like now that I don't have her, it's like I can't build like this part of my heart anymore, and I feel like that's what.
On a March morning in 2009, contract.
This is a perfect neighborhood to raise your kids in. It's beautiful. It's just a really good neighborhood.
At 8:45, Mitch arrives at the home of David and Kate Parsons.
He was supposed to be doing work on their back door of their house.
Miss Parsons.
When he doesn't get any answer, he decides to go around to the back and knock on the back door.
Okay.
He kind of looked inside, and something wasn't right. There was glass shattered.
Emergency 911. Yes, I had to come over here to do some work, and the steps broke in. I mean, the glass is shattered out, and then it's hanging like the police over here.
Okay, what's your name, hon?
Mitchell Cozart. I hollered at them at the door, and I didn't no response.
It isn't until Columbia County Sheriff's deputies enter the home that they realize this could be far worse than a simple home burglary.
His blood splattered, getting worse and worse. As they walk across, everything's been thrown about. And as it moved towards the garage area, they found a nightmare.
Kay Parsons is lying motionless on her garage floor, severely beaten, but she's still alive.
She had very labored breathing. You could tell that she had sustained a lot of blunt force trauma to her head and to her body. She was just in bad shape.
We need a 1052 to a location. Send back up.
Recognize her face had swollen so badly.
After Miss Parsons was taken by ambulance to the hospital, that's when we found a hammer in the garage that we thought may have been used as part of the crime.
And alongside the hammer, a bloody baseball bat.
It appeared to me that there was definitely a violent struggle that took place in that house. The blood was secured, and we were able to lift that and test it later with DNA.
Have we been able to contact the family? We've been working on it.
We needed to find out where Mrs. Parsons' husband was, basically get his story and find out what he was doing that day and if he could offer us any kind of clues or leads as to who did this to her.
Detectives track down Kay's husband, who was on a business trip in California, and get him on the phone.
California? Name's David.
David? This is Detective Shed. Very sorry to have to tell you this, but your wife's been taken to the hospital in critical condition.
Detectives asked David if there was anything in the family's background that might explain this level of violence.
I love this place. So beautiful here.
The husband says no. They've been happily married for more than a decade. Originally from Pennsylvania, Kay had become an Army wife, moved to Grovetown with David and their 12-year-old son in 2005.
Kay and David had very strong. David was former military. He moved here to take a job at Fort Gordon as a contractor, and that job did require him to do a lot of traveling.
Kay stayed close to home and worked at a physical therapy clinic nearby.
David, can you tell me where your son is?
We determined that she had dropped off her son earlier at school and that he was safe and sound.
While David catches the...
And there was definitely some blood evidence. We wanted to make sure we could differentiate. Was it Kay Parsons' blood or was it the suspect's blood?
They go up into the bedroom and they find dresser drawers have been ransacked, and they believe the jewelry's been taken from the home.
They won't know for sure what's missing until the Parsons can take inventory. As CSI assesses the scene, one of the Parsons' neighbors arrives with more ominous news.
Detective,
I live next door.
The first time I saw Becky Sears, we were at the Parsons home.
Stunned to hear about the attack on Kay Parsons, Rebecca drops another bombshell on detectives.
My son says that we
She said, "Hey, I've been burglarized too."
and I haven't been in.
Okay, just stay here, please, ma'am.
Okay.
We went into the Sears house with guns drawn. We were thinking the suspect was trying to flee the Parsons home and escape the burglary that had just occurred.
Definite signs of a struggle going on here.
The house is empty, but the attacker had clearly left his mark here as well.
There was some golf clubs thrown about. Some drawers looked like they had been went through.
Thankfully, there were no victims at the Sears' house, but still a lot of questions. Like whose house was robbed first, and could they be related of his own? While 22-year-old Michael still lives at home. Their stepfather and Rebecca's current husband, Tony, is a long-haul truck driver and was away on the road at the time.
Tony was constantly on the road for work. He wasn't home a lot. That's the only thing that upset her.
Alright, you okay? Take care of your mother. I'll be back next week.
Rebecca Sears seemed to get along with everyone in the neighborhood, and in fact, when Kay and David moved next door, she welcomed them with open arms. And that's when they became best friends.
With both husbands on the road so much, the two neighbors ended up spending all their time together.
Okay, ready? Let's see who won this week, right?
They even went on a weight loss journey together, and they would joke about who could lose the most weight.
You lost 2.
Kay and I worked together too, at the physical therapy clinic.
Kay must have surprised whoever did it. She wasn't conscious when the paramedics took her away.
She knew that something had happened. She just didn't know how bad it was until investigators told her.
She's in hospital now.
I need to go see her. Like, now.
We can finish our questions later. Please make yourself available, though.
Once we cleared both the Parsons and the Sears home, we were able to put our heads together and start theorizing what may have happened.
They know most burglars would flee after hitting one house in broad daylight, but two is puzzling.
Gold and silver aren't just precious metals. They're part of American history, and they're a great way to hedge against market.
Is the time to help protect your savings. Visit DennisLikesGold.com or call 855-823-GOLD to learn how to get up to 10% in free gold or silver from the #1 rated precious metals company, Goldco.
I'm Jackie, and this is The Real Real. It's the destination for authenticated luxury resale. You can get a Gucci bag like me,
Or a The Rose sweater like me.
or vintage Jimmy Choo heels like me,
Even a Cartier watch like me.
for up to 90% off retail. I know, imagine getting me for that price. And they drop over 10,000 new arrivals every day from the best luxury brands. So there's always something new to browse. So check out The Real Real, where the fashion speaks for itself, and get $25 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Championship word is yacht more chicken? How many syllables? Yacht more chicken. Yacht more chicken. 4. Sound it out.
EATMORCHIKIN. Eat more chicken.
Correct?
That's what we practice.
My car insurance bill doubled? You should try Insurify. In just a few clicks, it's from dozens of insurance companies. And you could. I just got the same coverage for half the price. Hey, that's what I was gonna say. Go to Insurify.com and save up to $1,000 a year on your car insurance.
It was more than meets the eye.
Later that evening, detectives arrive at the hospital to check on Kay.
Is she awake?
No, it's not good.
Kay had been viciously beaten, and doctors had fought tirelessly to keep her alive.
She had been put on life support shortly after arriving at the hospital.
By the time her husband arrives at the hospital, Kay barely clings to life.
The only thing that they were trying to do is allow her husband time to get home.
and allow relatives to be notified.
David makes the painful decision to remove Kate from life support.
You went from having a burglary and a
Detectives in Georgia are searching for a killer after the beating death of Kate Parsons. Shortly after taking his wife off life support, Kate Parsons' husband is ready to try and help detectives.
David described their marriage as close. The love that they had for each other was unusually strong.
Investigators, however, must also make sure David is truly the grieving widower he appears.
You were in California on business at the time, is that correct?
Yeah, I called her like I do every morning, just trying to check in with her before she went to work. When she didn't answer the phone, he was within 30 minutes calling the neighbors to check on her and things like that.
Hello?
Hey, Becky, it's me. Look, I'm out of town, and I can't get in touch with Kay. Is she here?
No, I haven't seen her. Is everything okay?
Searching for her, so everybody knows he's calling from California. It made him appear that if he didn't directly commit it, he may have been involved in the planning or the preparation for the killing.
We'll need to check out those phone records, okay? Anything you need.
While suspicion looms over the grieving husband, investigators canvass the neighborhood to see what other information they can find.
Our community was very frightened. We didn't have somebody getting hurt and killed right next door to you.
We went literally door to door and looked for any kind of witnesses, looked for any video cameras that might have been around that somebody might have outside of their residence.
Yeah, actually, I might have. I noticed a guy running away from the Parsons house.
Oh, what time is this?
Usually go to work about 8:30.
Now realizing the assailant could be someone with detailed knowledge of the neighborhood, detectives request information on anyone in the area with a...
So we can discuss this in more detail.
Sure.
The first line of questioning we had was to establish his location and where he was, if he was even in the area at the time.
So where were you Wednesday morning?
He had an alibi with his girlfriend. He said he had been with her.
Maloney shows no sign of deception. Until they can speak with his girlfriend, he will stay on the suspect list. Meantime, test results start to trickle in from the Parsons crime scene. But they provide little help.
The results on the blood from the crime scene are in, and every drop in the house came from the victim.
Okay, thank you. Kate Parsons never drew blood from her attacker.
With no foreign DNA in the house, detectives revisit who had access to the Parsons home in recent weeks. One was the man who made the 911 call, contractor Mitch Cozart.
The initial call that we got was from the contractor who was there to do some repairs on the home of Mrs. Parsons. So the contractor was a suspect until we could prove otherwise.
So you worked with Mrs. Parsons before?
They bring him in to dig deeper into his background with the murder victim.
Do you know anyone that might have had a problem with her?
No, not at all. She was always very nice.
I'd really love to get a new stain on the pergola.
Absolutely.
We questioned him at length. When did they come about this agreement for him to do the home repairs? Was he there on time? Was he there late? Was he there the day he was supposed to be there?
Let's take a look over here in the kitchen.
Mitch, tell us about that morning.
I was there to work on her back door. She was getting a new one. Miss Parsons! I went around back. That's when I saw the broken glass.
Emergency 911. Yes, I had come over here to do some work, and I just...
Listening to the 911 call, you could tell that Mitch was very shaken up. You could tell that he was extremely concerned that there was nobody at the home.
And you kind of know the rest.
With no motive, some intriguing information.
The only thing I can't stop thinking about is the neighbor boy, Michael. He was just there, out on the front yard.
As he waited for police to arrive, the contractor realized he wasn't alone. Becky Sears' older son, Michael, who lived next door, was sitting outside of his house looking anxious.
Hey, you work on his house, right?
Seemed strange, so that obviously took our investigation into a new direction.
They decide to pay the eldest son at home, figure out what he was doing there that morning.
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
Can we ask you a few questions?
Sure.
So, you were working the morning Kate Parsons was killed.
Yeah,
Hey, can I get a ride this morning?
Sure.
we got a job today.
He worked odd jobs, work he could find from one day to the next.
We have to leave in 5 minutes.
Well, it's fun. You guys take me to Lorenzo's.
Michael Bowers had told his mother that he needed a ride that morning to be dropped off at a friend's house, and he was going to go with that friend to work that day.
Michael says when he stopped back home later that day, he found a house in shambles.
Hello? Mom, I'm pretty sure someone broke into the house. What do you mean? The place is trashed. What do you want me to do?
Michael said that he discovered the burglary and called his mom. Normal behavior would indicate that if you're the victim of a burglary and someone has broken into your house, the first call is going to be to 911 to get the police there.
His story is suspicious enough for detectives to put Michael under scrutiny, and what they find out next will vault him directly to the top of their suspect list.
Turns out what he had done that morning and where he had been was inconsistent with what he told the police.
Following the murder of Kay Parsons, her best friend's son, Michael, is now under the microscope.
I'm pretty sure someone broke into the house.
Did you at any time go to Parsons' house at all?
No, of course not.
So you have no problem with us taking a look at his shoes from that morning?
To make absolutely certain, they request to see his shoes, knowing anyone who walked through the Parsons crime scene is likely to have picked up trace evidence.
Any glass here?
Broken glass was consistent with the broken glass at the back French door of Kay Parsons.
Investigators want to find out if he didn't enter the crime scene, how did he get broken glass on his shoes?
I was scared. Once I saw that our house had been robbed, I went into the Parsons' backyard.
He stepped next door and actually looked in the back door of the Parsons home, and he stepped on some glass then.
I didn't know what was going on, okay?
Now putting himself at the crime scene that morning, Michael says the reason he lied was because he doesn't want his mother to know he never actually went to work that day.
We have to leave in 5 minutes. He told his mother he was going and looking for a job. Well, instead of doing that, he went over to his friend's house to hang out there.
His friend's name is Lorenzo Fuller, and detectives hope to gain some answers with a visit.
Lorenzo Fuller? We're detectives with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office. We were wondering if we could speak with you for a moment.
Lorenzo's name is familiar to local law enforcement for drug-related offenses.
I don't need my neighbors knowing you guys are here, so what is it that you want? Lorenzo Fuller was questioned to confirm Michael's story as to where he'd been that morning.
Michael visited you last week. We just want to know what the nature of that conversation was.
I mean, we're friends. He was over a couple times. Lorenzo, at first, he was holding something back.
When detectives pressure Lorenzo more, he cracks.
Dude, come on in.
And tells them about a secret Michael's been keeping.
You want a beer or anything?
I'm good. So, you went to the clinic this morning, right?
Yeah.
Lorenzo, who had a history of drug abuse and struggled with sobriety, says Michael had been hitting him up for methadone.
What he was holding back was the fact that Michael had come over there to try to get some drugs.
They have to wonder, could Michael and Lorenzo also have teamed up to commit murder?
Lorenzo Fuller was looked at hard by investigators as well as Michael Bowers because of their drug use, their history.
That sort of gives you a motive to maybe be doing a burglary to get money for drugs.
Lorenzo insists he is innocent of the home invasion and the attack on Kay.
So you don't mind us quickly searching your house right now?
Not at all. Do whatever you guys gotta do.
After he let go of that information that he had been holding back, it became much more clear that he was being truthful with us. He allowed us to search his house. He allowed us to search his car. None of those areas showed any evidence of being cleaned up anytime recently or of him having any part of this crime.
So made off the hook. But that's not the case for Michael, whose whereabouts that morning are starting to fit eyewitness accounts.
Several people described someone walking through the neighborhood at the time Michael Bowers walked home.
Hi. Morning.
Listen, I know what's going on, okay?
That morning. The reason I was on there was because I wasn't feeling well, and I was gonna get a little different. And that's the truth.
You have lied to me from the get-go. You know that. Have you not?
I did.
Have you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
And I'm still right now. I know what the hell happened.
As Michael has misled them at least once already, detectives are searching for any crack in his story.
When you have someone with a drug addiction next door and this kind of horrendous crime occurring, is someone that you're gonna check out.
But Michael holds steadfast to his story.
You gotta buy what I swear on around here. If I knew anything whatsoever, I would tell you.
With the hard evidence lacking against Michael, investigators turn to DNA results from the blood found at the scene.
So here you have something for us. That's something very interesting. The blood at the Parsons house is the same throughout.
Every drop belonged to the victim, Kay, but her blood was also found at Becky Sears' house, meaning whoever killed Kay then walked next door. Looking at the murder weapons, detectives form a new theory.
The struggle seemed to have started in the living room, but maybe because of all the blood, the hammer fell out of his hand.
Right. And then he grabs the closest thing to him, which just happens to be the baseball bat.
Those are weapons more of convenience that you grab when you don't have a weapon. This looks like an interrupted burglary. And then the burglar doesn't want to go to jail, so he kills the victim.
But could Michael really be capable of beating his mother's best friend to death? Detectives turn to Michael's younger brother, Christopher, to try and find out.
Morning, Chris.
Detectives?
We're wondering if we could have a quick chat with you. We just wanted to know a little bit more about the morning of the break-in.
Well, after Mom dropped Michael off, she came back to take me to her work.
The 19-year-old explains his mother had gotten him a part-time job at the physical therapy company where she and Kay Parsons worked.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Christopher. Get in. We're late. I had to drop your brother off this morning. He had a job.
Christopher would go and work with Becky a lot of times at her place of work doing odd jobs.
Chris was mama's boy. She smothered him with gifts. She smothered him with opportunities. She smothered him with love.
However you want. Oh. Hi, Michael. What's up?
I just got home and the house was broken into. The back door's been smashed in. There's glass everywhere. Do you want me to call the police?
No, don't touch anything. Get out of the house. I'll call the police. I'm coming home right now.
What's going on?
Michael says the house has been robbed.
Despite his brother's drug use, Christopher doesn't believe Michael would ever commit such a violent crime. But so far, there's no way to prove whether he's right or wrong.
Thank you. You're very helpful.
Hours after the attack, still no solid evidence against Michael. Detectives are regrouping. Don't. When there's a terrifying new confrontation.
It's not going to be a face.
Days after the beating death of Georgia mother Kay Parsons, her neighbor and best friend, Becky Sears, has been shot in the leg outside the physical therapy clinic where both women worked.
I need an ambulance. Hurry.
She is rushed to the hospital. in stable condition when detectives arrive.
Mrs. Sears, what happened?
A man came up behind me.
Give me your money and you won't
He
get
said
hurt.
I owed him money. I have no idea what he was talking about. And he shot me.
Becky described the man, gave a height description, said what he was wearing.
I didn't see his face. He was wearing some sort of hoodie.
A guy came out and said, next time this will be your face, and shot her. We could not figure out why somebody would shoot her.
Detectives quickly recall the eyewitness account of a man in a hoodie fleeing the area the morning Kate Parsons was murdered.
We didn't know exactly what was going on at that point. She either has the worst luck in the world, or something is absolutely not right here.
It was so bizarre. There were a number of different scenarios, and of course, one of them was that Healing Hands was involved. Maybe the two girls were targeted.
Can't believe my mom replied K to my text with a period. Are my 5 morning alarms a metaphor for everything else I'm putting on? What have I done to deserve K? Like my 768 unread texts.
I'm just your dermatologist.
769.
But it sounds like you don't want all of this showing up on your face. Try Hydro Boost. Its formula magnifies the power of hyaluronic acid for juicy, deeply hydrated skin.
Okay. Sorry. Neutrogena. Weightless hydration that goes deep.
It was that Healing Hands was involved. Maybe the two girls were targets for some reason. Maybe there's some other conflict going on that hadn't been discovered yet.
Why would somebody want to hurt this woman? They used to work together. Maybe it has to do with that.
When detectives arrive at the hospital the next day with more questions, Becky's husband, Tony, speaks with them.
Can I have a word with you outside?
Sure, yeah.
Detectives learn members of their families grew closer than anyone knew.
David, you got a good swing right down the fairway. Yeah.
David and Tony had a really good relationship. They all had a great relationship. They would go and do couples tennis. They would go on cruises together.
But things inside the Sears home grew less and less cozy. And last summer, he and Rebecca hit a low point.
Hey, Tony.
Come on. Give me 5 minutes, please.
Their marriage was one where they kind of passed each other in the house. Tony had to get up very early and go to work about 4 o'clock in the morning. Becky would get up about 6 and go to work herself.
Excuse me.
Police discover that Becky turned to her next-door neighbor for support. And it wasn't her best friend, Kay. A steamy affair between Becky and David Parsons lasted a few months before Becky came clean to her husband.
Tony, I can't lie to you anymore.
The affair had started in August of the previous year and ended in February.
David and I had an affair.
What are you talking about? She told her husband about the affair, deliberately to end it because she and David had been trying to end it, and that wasn't going well.
It's over, and I love you, and I want this to work.
Tony's reaction to the affair was obviously that he was very upset, but he wanted to keep his family together. He was willing to sacrifice his dignity because he wanted the marriage to work between he and Becky.
When we found out that she was involved with Kay's husband, we were completely shocked. Never imagined her to be involved with an incident like that.
Tony tells detectives, despite his anger, he would never hurt either woman who was at his company's office the morning Kay was murdered, as well as the evening his wife got shot. While investigators will have to verify Tony's alibi, it's clear he had no motive to hurt Kay Parsons. But his revelation finally gives detectives the link between crime scenes they've been looking for.
Investigators were trying to make that connection between the two houses. And through that affair, they were like, bingo, now we've got the connection.
So, you had an affair with Mr. Parsons.
Now to make sure there aren't any stones left unturned.
Love you, sweetheart.
It was great for a while. Hey.
Hey, are you sure Tony isn't gonna come back?
6 months into their illicit tryst, the two break things off.
But we're done. We both felt so guilty. And after I told Tony, he told Kay, and then she never spoke to me again. Hey!
There was no way that Kay wanted to live next door to Rebecca after something like this happened. And Kay put their home up for sale because of the affair.
Only Kay was killed before they could find a buyer.
When was the last time you and David saw each other?
About 6 weeks ago.
Becky told us that the affair had been over since February 6th, and this was on March 27th we were talking. However, she later told us that on March 24th, while David was on a business trip in California, she and David had had phone sex.
I see your phone.
There were text messages that were sent, all professing their love for one another. That they still loved each other, that they still wished that they could be together.
I had nothing to do with Kay's death. Our friendship was over, but I still cared for her.
Problem is, you also cared for her husband.
As the layers of Becky Sears are being peeled away, investigators get an urgent phone call.
This is Detective Shed.
Detective Shed. Got someone on the line who says it's related to the murder of Kate Parsons.
Okay, I'll take it.
They get a call from Rebecca Sears' brother. He says that he has some information about this murder.
I've worked a lot of investigations in my career. This one was different than all the others.
Detectives in the Kay Parsons murder investigation are pressing for Rebecca's brother, Jerry.
When her brother found out that this had happened, he immediately called investigators and said, I know who did this.
Okay.
Jerry claims that just before Kay Parsons' murder, his sister called with an alarming request.
Hey, Jerry, it's Rebecca. I have a problem. And I think you're the only one who can help me.
Problem? What kind of problem?
Do you know someone who can make someone disappear?
Kill?
Her brother did have a criminal background, and I guess that's why she thought maybe he might know somebody who'd be willing to commit a murder.
Already having found himself on the wrong side of the law once, Jerry was in jail by the time the murder plot was carried out, but says he wanted nothing to do with the plan for murder,
Becky, what are you thinking?
even if the request came from his own sister.
This information really helped the investigators along because they now have a motive as a result of the affair, and
But he does offer up a surprising name of someone who might have been willing to help her.
Her brother told investigators that after
Sears and her son Christopher are brought in for questioning.
Thank you for coming down, Mrs. Sears.
We'll be interviewed together, right?
I'm afraid not. No.
Christopher, you know why you're here today? No. We think you're involved with the murder of Kay Parsons.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Becca,
Why don't you tell us what happened to Kate Parsons?
What happens to him if I tell you?
Happens to who?
Becky tells detectives that after she revealed the affair and then lied about it being completely over, she decided she wanted David all to herself.
Rebecca and Christopher's relationship was what I would describe as unusually close for an adult son and his mother.
Without David, I don't know what we'll do.
she told him she would do anything to be with David. She repeatedly said that she just wished that Kay would be out of the picture and asked Christopher, how can we get rid of Kay?
I don't know where he got the hammer.
Foundation every day to look put together. I started using Dermatology's Universal Tinted Moisturizer SPF 46. This is SPF, sheer coverage, and moisturizer all in one. The tint is universal, so it blends with every skin tone. No need for uploading photos or color matching. Get yours before it sells out again.
Gold and silver aren't just precious metals. They're part of American history, and they're a great way to hedge against market risk. So if you're considering a way to diversify your savings, trust me, these are the people you want to talk to.
Now is the time to help protect your savings. Visit DennisLikesGold.com or call 855-823-GOLD to learn how to get up to 10% in free gold or silver from the #1 rated precious metals company, Goldco.
Streaming bill hit $180 a month for channels I don't even watch. I didn't get mad. I got friendly.
When my wife insisted on watching 24/7 holiday movies,
I don't know where he got the hammer,
The motive behind her confession now was simple:
but I think he did it.
save herself.
She is basically throwing Chris under the bus, saying that he must have done this on his own by misinterpreting what she wanted or what she wished.
She just gave up her son.
She was trying to help herself at that point, not caring about her son. That was very devastating because, you know, she showed so much love for her children, and then to be able to, you know, care for herself more.
Your mom's the best with us right now. She's talking to us right now. And, I want you to think long and hard before you choose to go down the road.
Chris changes his story when he hears what his mother has been saying. It all boils down to a son's love, a misguided desire to make his mother happy at any cost.
I've got to get you to the house before anybody wakes up.
Rebecca Sears went to pick up Chris at 4 o'clock in the morning and told him to hide in her home.
And I took Michael to a friend's house. When we're gone, head over to Kay's house and wait for her.
Got it.
Once they had left, he broke into Kay Parsons' home. He waited inside the house for her to come home.
With Kay in the house and her husband making his usual morning phone call, Christopher strikes. He beats her with a hammer he found in his own house. Only Kay managed to escape into the garage, only a few feet away from the side door.
The hammer had become quite bloody and it slipped out of his hand. He then picked up a baseball bat, which was next to the door where he was standing at the time, and he continued to beat her with the baseball bat until she stopped struggling.
After the attack, he thinks he's killed her. So now, he stages a burglary.
He leaves the home and walks out of the neighborhood and into the woods, and he follows the trails through the woods to a different neighborhood and a different street. Rebecca Sears comes and picks him up.
Here, put this on and clean yourself up.
His mother then disposed of his bloody clothes. That's only part of the story.
Why don't you tell us what happened when your mother got shot?
I made a mistake.
Detectives learn when police started poking around, his mother tried to distance them from the murder by staging her own shooting.
Chris was to shoot into the ground, and then she would call the police and tell them that she was robbed by some unknown assailant. Only Chris shot her in the leg.
You weren't supposed to hit me.
Mom, I'm so sorry.
Get out of here.
I'm sorry. I actually shot her.
Christopher Sears. Rebecca Sears, you were under arrest.
Both Rebecca and Christopher are sent to trial, where they face the death penalty.
We would go to court when this kid would look at his mom, I don't think she ever made eye contact with him or looked at him in any way, shape, or form. And that was nauseating to me.
Both mother and son cut a deal to save their lives.
They were each sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Becky Sears was the one who put the nail in the coffin on her own son for her benefit.
Thanks.
There was obviously some type of bizarre relationship between the mother and the son, and the simple fact is, now that they're in separate prisons, they'll never see each other again.
Remember what we talked about?
Becky was this person you never would have thought would commit a crime like that. I left my mom, but I'm not going to commit murder for her.
It's almost time.
Instead of just going the easier route with divorce, she decided to take the crazy route.
I raised you right.
What we really find out is that his mother was about the closest thing to the devil and about as diabolical as anyone he could ever meet.
Kay is still thought of around the community. It still saddens our heart, and we still send prayers for everyone.
Kay had a young son who is without his mother. She was innocent party in this. Her husband was unfaithful to her, and she suffered so much more than you would expect a wife.
November 5th, 2008, Harrisonville, Missouri police receive a frantic emergency call.
911, what's your emergency?
My wife. I think she's in the bathroom. I'm sure she's not gonna.
Police race to the scene, but it's too late. The young mother is dead. Homicide detectives are immediately called in.
When I first observed Kara Jo Roberts' body, she was actually face up in the bathtub. There was injury of unknown nature. We don't know at that time, did Kara slip in the bathtub and knock herself out and drown? Was it a suicide? Was she murdered? You don't have a large number of violent crimes or crimes against people. You just didn't see a whole lot of that in Harrisonville.
To learn more about the victim, investigators speak to her husband, Jeff.
There are children's toys in the house. Do you have kids?
We have a son. He's the babysitter.
Married for 4 years, the couple has a 2-year-old boy.
Put your hands up, okay?
So just put your hands straight and straight down like that, okay? Okay, go.
His wife, Kara Jo, she was a loving mother, and she was very devoted to her child.
She loved being a mom. She's the strong one for the family. Loved her son. Just overall, good person.
Come on, Daddy.
He's making a mess over here.
Yeah, we're making a huge mess.
He's good, buddy.
So no one was supposed to be home with her today.
No, she met me for lunch today. What do you want? Work at the tire shop.
Jeff is a co-owner of a tire shop and did some things with like bed liners for pickups.
approximately 11:30 in the morning, Kara went to the shop. She got on the computer and was doing some kind of research about something. Okay, you go to lunch? I'm starving.
I'm almost done here. Just give me a few more minutes.
Okay. Busy today.
Do you know what she did after lunch?
She was supposed to build a race car bed for us. She was gonna pick him up and surprise him.
She called Jeff approximately 2:30, and that was the last time he had heard from her.
Anything else? Father-in-law came over and called me.
He says a few hours later, Kara Joe's father, Roger, went by the house to drop off a gift, but she never came to the door.
Kara Joe.
So Kara Joe Roberts' father then called Jeff Roberts on his cell phone and asked if he knew where Kara was at.
Concerned, Jeff left work early to check on his wife. He heard the sound of running water coming from the guest bathroom.
Kara? Kara? Kara Joe? Kara?
What do you have?
Only the hot water was turned on, but it stopped when the tank ran out.
By the time Roberts found his wife in the bathtub, water was running cold.
As they take a closer look, it's clear that Kara Joe didn't just slip and fall. She's been shot.
We noticed 3 wounds to the body, one at the base of the skull, one at her left cheek, and one in her left thigh, which indicates that Kara Joe Roberts was possibly in a fetal position when she was shot. And then we actually find a 9mm shell casing underneath her body in the bathtub. It kind of suggests that maybe somebody was trying to clean the scene using hot water to sterilize any type of trace or biological evidence.
In addition to being shot, Kara Joe may also have been bound.
Zip ties on the ground?
There was a cut zip tie right outside the door in the hallway. That did obviously start raising our concerns significantly at that point.
Purse, wallet.
In the master bedroom, we noticed that the sheets and bedding had been taken off the bed. It was just ripped off and just laying on the floor.
Duct tape. Looks like we get a partial plan.
The door was unlocked and there was no signs of forced entry whatsoever. It appears that the person just walked in either with her or on his own.
The TV was on in the living room. It doesn't appear like the place has been ransacked.
There was cash in her purse, so we came to the conclusion that it probably was not a robbery.
Maybe it was somebody who knew her, maybe somebody that was close to her.
Detectives next speak with Kara Joe's father.
These may look like ordinary shoes, but they're far from ordinary. They're a custom-fit system designed to move with you. Engineered for motion, built for lasting comfort. OrthoFeet, trusted for release, designed for life.
Close to her.
Detectives next speak with Kara Joe's father to find out what he saw earlier that afternoon at the house.
We understand from Jeff that you tried to visit your daughter.
Yeah, I work at the hospital. I just came by to see if I was free for lunch.
He says he started as usual at his job as maintenance supervisor at the local hospital.
Hey, Dad.
Oh, hey, honey. This is a surprise. Is everything all right?
Oh, yeah, no, I just came by to see you. We haven't seen you in a while because of your hunting trips.
Yeah, I've got some extra meat for you guys. I'll bring it by later.
Okay.
You'll be all right?
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to see if maybe you wanted to grab some lunch.
I just wish you could have told me sooner. They just got me doing all this stuff. I can't.
It's fine. We'll pick another day.
Okay.
Love you.
I love you, baby.
Kara Joe then went to lunch with Jeff. Later that afternoon, Roger went to his daughter's house to drop off the meat.
Hey, Kara? He actually heard water running, but did not go into the house at that time.
He stated that he respects his daughter's privacy. He then called Jeff Roberts on his cell phone. Jeff stated that he believed Kara Jo Roberts was possibly at the babysitter.
He put the cooler of meat next to the garage and then left. Why he didn't go in, I have no idea. I personally would have gone in had it been my child.
You said you were a hunter. You own guns?
Sure.
Any handguns? I believe Kara Jo may have been shot with a handgun.
You can't think I would
Just
possibly.
a routine test, sir.
We had a 9mm shell casing underneath Kara Jo Roberts' body.
9mm.
The day after Kara Jo Roberts' murder, with her father's gun sent for processing, detectives are canvassing the neighborhood to see if anyone saw him or anyone else at the house.
We're investigating the murder of Kara Jo Roberts, your neighbor. Wondered if you could tell us about the couple.
I still can't believe that happened to them. They're good people.
Any problems or any shouting, fights?
They weren't allowed from what I could tell.
Any problems with family or friends?
They like their parties. Lots of people come and go.
Jeff and Kara Jo Roberts had a lot of friends. They partied with some of the neighbors across the street.
When we were interviewing what we kind of call the inner circle of friends, there was rumors. There was always a rumor that, well, I heard from so-and-so, well, I heard from somebody else.
Some rumors even go so far as to suggest the couple had an open marriage. But no one has any details, and detectives find no evidence to back it up as credible information. But this neighbor has something better than rumors to share with police.
You mentioned to one of our uniformed officers that you saw something the day of the murder. Can you walk us through it?
Oh, of course. I was taking out the trash, and I noticed a man walking past my house.
As he crossed the road, she noticed he had an obvious limp.
His hat was kind of covering his face. Hard to miss him. Nobody else was out at that time.
While it's still fresh in your memory, would you mind sitting down with our sketch artist?
Absolutely.
The police got a sketch artist in from Kansas City that did a composite of a white male wearing a baseball cap, approximately 5'8".
Looked like salt and pepper hair, but with this cap that came down just above his eyebrows.
While the sketch is sent to the media, detectives are called to the crime lab for the results of Kara Jo's autopsy.
Results are back from ballistics. Kara Jo was killed by a 9mm Smith & Wesson. Bullet went in the base of her skull and landed in her left thigh.
Roger owned a 9mm semi-automatic, and he surrendered that to us, but that came back not to be a match with the gun that had been used in the homicide.
Seems when Kara Jo's dad told his story about not entering the house, he was telling the truth, which means he can be eliminated as a suspect. But that's not the only revelation from the autopsy report.
We got two sets of semen, one from her husband, Jeff Roberts, the other one is unknown.
The major contributing donor actually had sex with Kara Jo Roberts at a more recent time than when her husband had sex with her the night before.
Science can determine the more recent sample based on a higher level of a certain chemical found in seminal fluid. With Kara Jo's body showing no sign of sexual assault, could this DNA sample belong to the man the neighbor described leaving Kara Jo's house that afternoon? They rush it through local and national databases.
But there was no match, which means that whoever's DNA sample this was has probably never been in trouble with the law before.
The presence of another man's semen, coupled with the rumors of an open marriage, presents detectives with a new potential suspect. Jeff Roberts.
If there was an open lifestyle, if Kara was having an affair with another man. Did he have motive to kill his wife?
Detectives decide to present him with the news that his wife had sex with another man.
We found 2 sets of semen.
I don't understand. Who was the second?
We ran his DNA, there wasn't a match.
Jeff insists he and his wife were never unfaithful to each other. He presents detectives with a very different theory about who killed his wife. It began with what some suspected were shady business practices not long before she was killed at the insurance company where Kara Jo worked.
Look, it's all gonna come out the same anyway. It's just a delay. Okay. Kara Jo, can you get... Thank you.
The feds caught wind of trouble, and as the FBI swooped in to conduct a raid, Kara Jo was dismissed from the company.
Kara Jo Roberts was one of the last employees let go by the insurance company and was actually hired by the auditing firm that was auditing the insurance company. So we didn't know if she might have been a whistleblower.
It was Ronald Ray.
I feel for her family, man. I really do.
Kara Jo, she was fired, right?
Look, like I told her husband, the business was closing due to the FBI raid.
Ray says things escalated. Jeff Roberts confronted him.
It's strictly business, okay?
After that, however, the boss says cooler heads prevailed, and they went their separate ways. A look at the Roberts records might tell them if the feud really was over. But with their home already combed through, detectives go to Jeff's shop.
Jeff, we wondered if we could take a look at your computers here at the tire shop.
Yeah, no problem. I got nothing to hide. What are you guys looking for?
We're looking into whether Kara Jo Roberts had some type of inside information into the insurance company themselves.
If Kara Jo possibly had information against her employers, then Kara Jo was
left to look for clues.
Here for lunch?
I'm almost done here. Just give me 2 more minutes.
As the only potential suspect, but there's no evidence to arrest him.
You know, my boss, everything I love, I love. My wife, you know, the mother of my son.
Leaving investigators' hopes
Time, if anybody had saw this man in the area.
There were posters in people's yards, you know, with her picture on it, trying to find out who did it or if anybody knows about it, to call.
We have Jeff's hotline set up on that, and there were some leads that came in.
But nothing pans out for 2 long years. Until another case from across town thrusts a spotlight on another dead woman.
Oh my God, Mom!
The town of Harrisonville, Missouri is still reeling from the brutal murder of wife and mother Kara Jo Roberts.
Her death was a ripple throughout the whole community. Even if you didn't know her personally, it still affected almost everyone.
The case is far from Paige Huser's mind, however, when she spends an evening trying to reach her mother, 75-year-old Nina Whitney, for their daily call.
Hey Mom, this is Paige. Second message, just trying to check in with you. Trying not to worry, but please call me. Okay, thanks, love you. Bye.
I called 3 times. I put the phone down and I just told myself she's dead. That's the only reason she wouldn't be answering the phone.
Trying to calm her own fears, Paige headed straight to her mother's around 8 o'clock.
When I got out to the house, the porch light was not on, and it should have been on because she always turned the porch light on.
Mom?
just stood there in shock and horror that one human being would actually do something like that to another human being.
911, what's your emergency?
Please, something's happened to my mom. I think she fell down or something. Please, I need someone to help. Please, hurry.
She's got multiple stab wounds in her back and the throat.
Keep us updated. Paige, can you tell us what happened?
Well, my mom and I are very close. So when
Everybody liked my mother. Everybody called her the frog lady. She collected frog knickknacks. Anything that had frog on it, she had it in her house.
Her collection was a splurge later in life after a hard Scrabble start.
She would scrimp and save. She had that Depression era mentality. She lived alone, but she was doing quite well for herself after all 3 years of hard work.
Detectives catch a detail about the moments when Paige was alone, waiting for help to arrive.
I started hearing these noises that I guess I hadn't paid attention to when I walked in the house. So I got up and I started following the noises. The water in the tub was running, both faucets full blast.
It's an eerie similarity to the way Jeff Roberts found the water running in Kara Joe's death.
Just wait here. I'll have Officer Timmons stay with you.
And in the bedroom, another gruesome discovery as detectives find evidence of a possible sexual assault. DNA is collected from Nina in the house in hopes the killer left something of himself behind. With the parallels to the Roberts case just 30 miles away, police canvass the area around Nina's house the next day.
Anything else? Catch a glimpse of the space?
A little, kind of.
While it's so clear in your minds, I'd like to sit you down with one of our sketch artists. Would you mind coming down to the station for a bit?
Absolutely. Sure. I did notice one other thing, though. The guy had a limp.
The detail detectives heard once before in Kara Jo Roberts' murder. Detectives now feel like they're closing in on their man, but when the sketch results come back on DNA collected from Nina's murder.
Both victims had the same unknown DNA on their body exteriors.
That means both women were attacked by the same man. That man was not Jeff Roberts. Police call Paige with the breaking news.
So, he's done this before. Thanks. Please keep me posted. Thank you.
They told me that they had found DNA on my mother's shirt and that there was a match to an unsolved homicide from November of 2008, which was Kara Roberts' case.
The link between...
I think it was pretty clear to me at the time that whoever had done this knew my mother's house, knew where the bathroom was, knew where her bedroom was.
Haunted by her mother's death, Paige feels the killer could have met her mother while at one of her many favorite antique spots. Because Nina had few other social interactions.
I took several days off work and literally drove around the entire city, writing down addresses, every antique shop, thrift store, and flea market that I knew that she had gone to, and gave lists to my detective. Sleeping was non-existent for me.
literally 24/7, I was racking my brain trying to figure out who I knew or who my mother would have known that looked.
Her mother's house to pack up belongings stops her in her tracks.
I had driven out to my mother's house that morning and was on my way back home. And I look up and then here's this same sketch staring me in the face. It hit me like a bolt of lightning.
Murders with similar details have rural Missouri detectives stumped. The daughter of one victim sees a large billboard of the same sketch she's been studying. It suddenly hits her.
Detective Schreier, please. Detective Schreier. I think I know who this is.
Everything just fell in its place. We need to investigate Jeff Garland.
His old boyfriend from ages past. Focusing on other aspects of the sketch,